Hey guys, just gonna go quickly grab a drink. I'll be ready to go. Alright, I'm getting everything ready for we start. Yummy. Hello. Welcome to another exciting episode of FPL Dave's Monday After series or stream. Monday After stream? Yeah, anyway, it's Tuesday. Game of Thrones plus working late on Mondays now. Can't do them on Mondays. It's sort of an issue when you are naming your show after a day of the week. But regardless of that, I hope everyone managed an amazing game week 36 point haul. I've seen some ridiculous scores, 130, 110, 20, even 150. Someone hate them, but all of you guys, hope you guys did really well. I was hitting 94 with a game week rank of 650k, so it just shows you how absolutely tight it is now at the very last bit where everyone is sitting, let's move that over, sitting comfortably with a 100-point club. So well done to everyone who hit the 100 club. I'm just going to quickly go through all the stuff that I did right, all the stuff that I did wrong, and then we're going to jump right into differentials for the last 2 weeks. Safe options for the last 2 weeks if you're doing what I'm doing and trying to hold down where you are. And then finally I'm going to go through some mini league strategies for catching your rivals, because I know that that's what a lot of people are at least asking me, direct messaging me saying, I've got 50 points, what should I do? I'm 20 points ahead, what should I do, etc. So I'm going to break it down for those that are looking to kind of either win some cash or respect or whatever you guys are doing. And then finally, viewer rate my teams and see how many we can do before the Champions League starts, because that's going to be an amazing game. I'm so looking forward to it. It's crazy to think that no matter what happens, either Ajax or Tottenham, of all the Premier League teams this year playing good, are going to be in the final. So let's get straight to it. I'm just going to quickly open up my notes. So points for the week. 94, like I said. I didn't quite make that 100, but I'm not too worried about it. The most annoying thing was when you go for a triple captain and they get 2 goals and they don't get any bonus points, and it's just the way that it is. Salah got an assist, so he gets more. Clean sheet plus assist for Robertson and Trent Alexander-Arnold means that I missed out on that, but can't really complain. a triple captain that gets 2 goals. Like, it could be so much worse. Aguero hitting the goal, Jimenez hitting the goal. What was cool about my bench this week, I got a bench boost in for last week and it just went horribly wrong. I got all Southampton players on my bench and they did nothing. But then when we bring in Vertonghen and Firmino, and then one gets rested and one gets injured, or maybe they both get injured, I'm not really sure. Then Valerie and Højbjerg comes on, how do we say it again? I forget how you say his name already. Someone told me on stream, Højbjerg, something like that. They come in, right? And look at that, look at right there. 9 points just sitting on my bench. I was like, Valerie at the front, because they'll probably get a clean sheet, potentially get a clean sheet more than those 2 will score, and then it just turns out. So instead of getting, potentially 15 points off my bench, it was only 10, which isn't too bad. So I'm happy that Vertonghen wouldn't have got a clean sheet anyway, so 4 points spare than that. And Firmino probably would have done well, but potentially taken away the points off of Mane. So can't complain, did alright. For the future though, I think that the triple captain, I'm gonna have to look at that, because I had Aguero. He had a hat trick when I was about to put it on, and I decided not to and go against everyone that was the same week that Sané got 1 point, right, and everyone was going nuts. And just having Aguero was a big enough differential there. But for future, I'm gonna kind of maybe think about a few different strategies I can use with the triple captain instead of going the same time as everyone else. I need to figure that out. But yeah, so thank you very much for coming, everyone. We've got a good chunk of you guys here. M's here, Zeta Mars here. How's it going? So Z, and then Liam, of course, here every single week, as a lot of you guys are. It's a Tuesday, so I'm not expecting a huge amount of people, because you got to be consistent. And next year, I'm actually going to be working on either maybe streaming a little bit later, maybe at like after the game, any Monday games potentially, if they start at 7:45, and if I start stream at 10, for example, would that be okay for everyone? It's fine for me, but yeah. Zood says, Manny hitting the post. Oh. The name of the stream is incorrect, because I've been working later these days, so you're right. I'll need to change that. Yeah, I'm working later, so I was just rushing home to do this for you guys. Ugh. Thought I got everything. Right, hold on. Need to change this, okay? We need to change it before we start. No, let's just go for it, I think. Maybe? No, I'm gonna change it. Now, see, if you didn't say that, I would have totally left it, but now that I've seen it, it's just the most annoying thing in the world, and I'm gonna have to change it. Can you change it when... Look at this. Let's see. Come on now. Does that work? And then we save. Does it even have to save? Does it just change? If I refresh? Oh, YouTube's kind of cool. Alright, that worked. Well done, YouTube. Right, so let's get into it now. Differentials. A lot of people are looking to get ahead in their mini leagues. A lot of people are looking to stay ahead in their mini leagues, and they're asking me what to do. Now, although I'm going to go through the strategies, both of these strategies include differentials and safe options. So we're going to go through a bit of them today, and highlight people who I think it'd be best to look into. Now, the reason why we're not going through our usual who the best fixtures are, who the worst fixtures are, is because there's only 2 fixtures left. And I have been through this whole thing, fixtures, form second, form in very unique circumstances like Doherty and stuff that you can keep form, or Sterling or Aguero, right? Doesn't matter if they don't score 1 or 2 weeks in a row. You're going to keep them, right? But form was always secondary for me over fixtures. But now it's at the end of the season. I don't really know. I'm not a big form over fixtures guy, but it's becoming apparently clear that it's definitely now at the last dying breaths of the season that you need to be looking at form, because there's only 2 fixtures left. So with that in mind, I've picked quite a few different differentials. Some are going to be obvious, and some are going to be like, David, you've lost your mind. What are you doing? Why the hell are you telling us to get Anderson back? So yeah, I'm bringing that up now. So let's first talk about Man United. All right, Ronan, how's it going? Sterling captain differential worked so well last week. I won't be needing a differential this week. Oh man, that sucks. Sterling with that 3 points. That's rough. Differentials sometimes just don't work out when teams are playing Huddersfield. And that brings me great segue into Man United. Oh, I went with a better bourbon today because I was working late and I thought I'm just going to pick a good one, and it's very good. Man United are playing Huddersfield, but they are also playing shite. So I've just talked about form there, and then now I'm going to go for a fixture. However, the player that I've picked is actually kind of in form. He hasn't played in 3 weeks because he's been suspended, and then when he did play, he actually played really well. And of course I'm talking about Luke Shaw. Now, Shaw's, you can't really see them on the site that I usually use because for whatever reason Game Week 36 is not on there, which is quite annoying. So I've been using Who Scored to have a look, and I tweeted it earlier today. He actually looks amazing. Like, his heat map and everything is really good. So let's go have a look at that. Luke Shaw is someone who we all know can get assists when on any day. He did it last week. He took it quite well. He was touches in the box, but also if you watch the game, he was tracking back. He made clearances. He blocked shots. He did all the defending things that you would expect from him. He actually looked competent on the ball and confident when faced with, the opposition attack. Right, so he can do everything. He's kind of like an Alonso that can also defend, if that makes sense. So let's go into this little mode here. So if you guys haven't used this website, whoscored.com, it's not very good at what the other one does, and consolidating all the weeks into easy to understand stats. But what it does do is show some great heat maps and chalkboard maps and passing stats and all the rest of it for specific games. So let's go into Manchester United versus Chelsea, and let's look at their heat map first of all. So we're looking at Shaw. Let's turn these guys off. So that's Shaw right there. He's actually looking quite good. More attacking than defending. His passing is at the same way is let's see here. This is his passing chalkboard. So you can see that, like, he's 3 passes inside the box first of all. A lot of passing back on the left hand side, those crosses in, etc. But also, like, he's also doing his defensive duty, so he's not like going nuts and just staying forward and hitting the bar as much as Alonso. And we can see Alonso has definitely more touches in that game in the back, but not as many as Shaw in the box, which is interesting to note, right? So he's even more attacking, Shaw was, than Alonso was that game week. Says the problem is that Luke loves a yellow card, and that is absolutely true. He's a diabolical yellow card addict, and that's really annoying. But yellow cards are really only going to come when he needs to defend a whole lot. So I would agree with you there. But for Huddersfield and Cardiff, I don't think he's going to have to defend a lot, do you? So, yeah. I wanted to highlight Luke Shaw's statistics as well in the last game, because we're looking for a clean sheet first and foremost whenever we look at defender. And his defensive stats, like 4 clearances and 2 block shots, that is enough for bonus if he cleaned. If obviously Bally was doing much better, total tackles, etc., right, and interceptions, but that is enough. If they just had a clean sheet that game and no one scored, he would get 2 bonus points potentially on that just for this team. So that's something to note, right? He's not just neglecting those duties, which means that he's definitely not a long shot for bonus points. And then on top of that, he loves to run up in the wing and get those assists, right? So he has clean sheet potential, his assist potential. He's only 5 million. You could get him for example, I can get him right now if I just went Duffy to Shaw, right? I've got 5 million, and that's really cheap for someone who's playing, attacking wise against Huddersfield. I think it's the cheapest way into the Manchester United attack, and he's nailed because he's one of their best players right now, which isn't very hard to do. So Shaw's number 1 on my list for Manchester United. Now, I was tweeting for a while and showing you guys, if you follow me on Twitter, exactly what I've been planning on doing is either bringing in Salah as a shield or bringing Lukaku in as a differential. But Lukaku and Rashford are both potentially out for the rest of the season. Now, we don't know anything other than that. They might be out. Some insider knowledge. But all we need to take from that is that we can no longer guarantee that they're playing, and therefore they should be out of our thinking. I would 100% love to have Lukaku in for the first 2 days. Him against the last 2 games, him against Huddersfield and Cardiff, I feel like are like his best fixtures. Big, strong bully, just pushing people aside and scoring goals. That's what he loves doing. But unfortunately he's out, so it means that we can't do that. So the only other nailed players in Manchester United are Pogba. Really, that's it for attacking wise. Obviously defenders are kind of nailed, but attacking wise, Pogba, Lingard's not, Martial's not, especially when Sanchez is back, who everyone is expecting to play, especially if you're trying to ease a player back and build up his confidence. If that's what the manager wants to do, then you bring him up and you play him against Huddersfield, and you'll see him go home happy. So that is the real only time this week that I would say fixtures over form, is because Huddersfield and Cardiff. But Cardiff isn't the pushover that we thought, so we can use the thing that I use for stats to show that. So Cardiff hasn't really been conceding that many shots. They've actually been doing really well at closing down the ball. They're kind of like the Huddersfield of before the manager left, right? But we can go down to the very bottom, and you can see here. So that's West Ham. Actually, you know what? We need to put it into the last couple of games. So West Ham's at the bottom. Southampton's near there as well. You've got Huddersfield, obviously, are really, really bad at just stopping people from shooting. But Cardiff are near the top. Where is Cardiff? Where are we? No, that's not the right one. 34 maybe? 33. So in the last 3 games, Cardiff have done really well. And then there's Huddersfield. So it's not the best fixtures for Manchester United as much as we think, but they are still good. Now, Southampton, on the other hand, who we're going to talk about next, are playing Huddersfield and West Ham, who are the best fixtures, I think, in terms of attacking output. Now, like I said, I had JWP and I had Højbjerg, I think that's how you pronounce his name. But other people had Ings and Long and Redmond, and Redmond did really, really well, and he's someone that I would like to have in my team. Now, before, when we were looking at stats and I went over it, the guys that I brought in were my picks, the best of the Southampton attacking. But Redmond's really kind of on fire now, and is shooting way more. I think he's like 4 more shots than everyone else. Highest shots in the game for the last game they played against Bournemouth. And a 3-3, that's what you want, an attacking-minded team like that. Especially in players that are really cheap, which will allow you to do crazy things like have Salah, Mane, Aguero, Sterling. Like, you need a differential, tiny, cheap player. And the fact that Southampton Redmond's like 5.5 or something, 5.6, that's incredible. So let's have a look at the guys. I'm going to go into this mode. Let's have a look at Southampton. And while it loads up, how is the music level? Because it's a bit loud for me, but I know I've turned myself up. It might be a wee bit too loud. Put it down. Alright, Southampton. So we're going to look at all Southampton players, because Ings and is Long a striker? Anyway, they need to be in there, because we need to see the difference. So let's bring this right down. And let's take a look. So why is that so light? Oh my goodness. Redmond's up there, total shots. This doesn't include Game Week 36, but he is still their highest shooter. He's right at the top there. Then you've got Long, who's kind of continuously doing it, but not as much as Redmond. Højbjerg's still there shooting. He's got 4 shots there, not very accurate. And then behind there, Ward-Prowse. Again, it doesn't count last week's, but you can see that Redmond's been for a while now playing a lot better. Coincidentally, just before we all decided to do our wild cards, but whatever, I'm not going to judge. Ward-Prowse, however, is the crossing king of their campaign, and he still is at the end of the season. So he's still a good shout if you have him, to keep him, because he does do a few shots now and again. But he is the kind of Madison of their team. So I would definitely keep him. Valerie's up there for crossing as well. And key passes there, he's got 2, and that's actually a lot more now since Game Week 36. I'm really annoyed that this doesn't fit Game Week 36 in, so let's not put too much emphasis on this, but what I'm trying to show you is that Redmond is a definite big differential shout. Højbjerg's up there as well as JWP, but he'll be more assisting minded than shooting, although he took a great goal and got 3 bonus points. Wait, sorry, I think it was 2 bonus points. So yeah, that's Southampton. I think they're great differentials, and a lot of people have them right now, so I would potentially be planning on playing them. And if we look at my team for next week, I've got Ward-Prowse sitting there, and Højbjerg as first on the bench instead of Valerie, because I think they'll probably concede. They're kind of away, they're going all out attack, but I definitely expect them to score a few goals. And I'm not worried at all about West Ham. I'm not worried at all about West Ham and their clean sheet against Tottenham, simply because it was a London derby and they play really well against all the London teams, and everyone says that all year. They show up against the big teams. They show up against Tottenham and blah blah blah, and they did, and Tottenham kind of got complacent. So, but they're also shattered, so it's not really their fault. But well done West Ham for ruining the clean sheet, because that really helped with Vertonghen's missingness, his absence. Sorry, I couldn't think of the word. His missingness. Vertonghen was missing, and therefore he got Valerie in for me instead, and that was well done. So well done West Ham for scoring. I know that probably ruined a lot of Lorry players. Lorry owners, rather. Alright, so we've done we've done Southampton, we've done Man United. Let's look at some absolutely ridiculous differentials, okay? First and foremost, Hazard, right? The Chelsea legend. Let's have a look at him. How many people are planning on actually bringing him in versus the amount of people who are just talking about bringing him in? I think a lot of it is nostalgia mixed in a little bit with it's his last ever game potentially at Stamford Bridge, so people are wanting to bring him in. And Watford aren't the greatest defenders. If we quickly go down here, Watford are kind of middle of the road right now, but have played way worse in the past. They've kind of bucked up their ideas since their fixtures changed. But remember, Liverpool beat them 5-0. Manchester United beat them 2-1. Man City beat them 3-1. So there's still quite a few goals to be had for Hazard, and I think that he is an actual decent shout. So as he says, only issue I have with JWP is that despite all the chance creations, yet to record an assist this season. If he keeps scoring those free kicks, though, I don't mind. Yeah, you know what? It is true. He hasn't. I think he's been way more unlucky. He's due an assist so much. And the best fixture to get that assist is against Huddersfield. So I'm definitely keeping him in the team. And if he just wants to keep shooting, like you said, yeah, definitely go for it. But we're talking about Hazard, and Hazard is playing amazing recently. Now he hasn't went more than 2 games without a return in ages. He just hasn't. He's just been playing amazing. There's a fair amount of talk for managers bringing him in, and 8.5% owned in the top 10k. He is definitely a differential. 8.5 is probably the highest differential of all the ones I've been talking about, and that's how differential he is. The only thing that would scare me is the Europa League. I haven't really looked in too much about the time differences and how much days are in between, but Hazard plays every game, and I don't think you can drop him, but just a tiny bit of awareness of that before you bring him in. I would double check that. But yeah, I think Hazard is top currently for most shots in the box of any midfielder in the last 6 game weeks. He is definitely top for shots in the last 6 game weeks. Touches in the box, etc. Like Salah and Mane, although they do take a lot of shots, it's counter-attacking football that they play. Like, you know, they run in behind. Hazard and Chelsea, they tend to just like sit on the edge of the box and just pass it between them. So Hazard's always there, and he's always in amongst all the attacking play. And anytime he gets a goal, it's a bonus. He's also a midfielder as opposed to a striker, so he gets more points. But we know this. Hazard will be Hazard, and Watford aren't very good at defending against the big teams. So if you want to go for it, then go for it. I think it's a decent move if you already have Mane or Salah. But if you're missing one of those players, then maybe a shield is better than a sword, depending on your mini league situation, which we'll talk about in a bit. But I do like Hazard. So yeah. Speaking of Liverpool, everyone has Mane, everyone has Salah, everyone has either 2 defenders or 1 defender, or maybe even 3 defenders, but it is genuinely Robbo. Actually, you know what? Some people even have the goalkeeper, right? We know all the Liverpool players that everyone has: Robbo, Trent, Van Dijk, Salah, and Mane. Some people have Firmino, but he's injured, so it doesn't matter. Some people have the goalkeeper, but it's basically the same as Van Dijk, except a little bit less attacking. Who are the differentials from Liverpool? Who is worth getting from Liverpool? If you are sitting there and you have 2 Liverpool players and you don't want to bring in Trent because of the Champions League and, you know, he might get rested, you don't have enough money to go for Van Dijk because it means taking out someone like that you want to keep in, or it means downgrading another keeper, so it means taking a hit, or you can't get Salah but you have Mane. So my position, basically, I have Firmino and I don't like him because he's injured, but I don't really want to bring in Trent because then what if Liverpool go mental in attack, but I can't really afford Salah, or well, I can, but what if someone couldn't, right? So I was looking over Liverpool, just trying to decide if I couldn't afford Salah, what would I do and how would I get into their attack. And Henderson showed up on my radar. He is playing more attacking now in the last 4 game weeks than he has ever played in his entire life. And I was reading up on it, and it seems that Klopp's changed their tactics to make him more involved in the final third, as opposed to kind of sitting back, which they love to do, right? So Liverpool score 2 goals and then they just kind of pass it between them in the back, kind of like a really annoying FIFA opponent. But for whatever reason, Henderson's been kind of let loose almost. It's weird, but I'll show you his output, right? In the last 4 games or so, he's actually been playing well, and he's virtually 0% owned, 0.7% owned. So let's have a look at him. Can you guys see that? You guys can. So let's go right down. He got an assist versus Huddersfield. He got an assist versus Chelsea, and he got an assist and a goal versus Southampton. So for a total in the last 4 games, he has 25 points. And he is only 5.3. So that is actually quite a big deal. If you can't afford to get Salah and you don't want to double up in defence, and Firmino's now a doubt, he is a great option to jump into just in case. So that's the differential that I could find. The only differential that I would choose for Liverpool. And he's also cheaper than Redmond, and it means that you can then do the exact same things that, you know, a Southampton player gives you. The other people that I've seen just really quickly before we move on, Babel has been playing out his mind, and he looks like he's put himself in the shop window trying to get anyone who wants to buy him to stay in the Premier League, and that's exactly what anyone would do. And he's doing it really well. He's scoring quite a lot. Second person is Sigurdsson, or Richarlison. Richarlison's been playing well, but Sigurdsson is in the form of his life. I don't have enough time to go into just how good his stats are now than like even 5 game weeks ago. He's in the form of his. He's basically Swansea Sigurdsson now. He's playing so well. He's showing why he's worth 40 million. He's just the center focus. He's like an amazing David Silva right now, and I don't know where it's came from. It's really annoying that they've done so well, because we all got rid of them in game week 30. But he's just been playing out of his mind, and if I could afford him, and I didn't want to. I wanted to only go for differentials from now on, I would definitely bring him in. And if I couldn't afford him, then Richarlison's a good second place, but definitely second place. Sigurdsson is playing out his mind. Last but not least for differentials is Anderson. I've already talked him up a little bit today, I understand he could have hurt you. I understand he hurt me. He hurt everyone. We held on for him way too long. West Ham had just the best fixtures, and then they just killed it. And I know, and I was there with you, and I'm sorry, okay? But he has equal shots to Hazard in the box in the last 4 game weeks. He is second for most. Hold on, is it second? He's joint first for shots in the box, and that's not including last game week. And if you include that game week, he is third for shots on target out of every midfielder in the game. That's a huge stat to throw out for Fanderson, considering the fact that 10 weeks ago we were all shouting, raving, and ranting about the fact that he had 1 shot on target or 0 shots on target in 10 games, right? Do you remember that for Anderson? I remember him because he was annoying the shit out of me. But now he's playing amazing, and he hasn't really returned much yet, but he's got some decent fixtures. He's not got any top 6 players, top 6 teams. So I'm not going to say any more about it. He's just been playing really well under the radar. And Antonio as well, if you want to go there. Although he is a bit less, but he played really well last game week. So those are the differentials. Let's cut it there. The safe picks, if you're like me and you've already hit your goal, if you're in the top 100k and that's where you want to stay, your job now is to kind of bring in the players that everyone has and kind of hold fast, right? So Vardy, Eriksen's probably nailed, although maybe not so much nailed as Son for the next game. But he has been playing 90 minutes every game. Son is there as well. Salah, Mane, Aguero, Sterling, Jimenez, Jota. All these players are going to bring you some points, at least a little bit, in the next 2 game weeks. Vardy, he might not necessarily be the best differential or the best safe pick for next game week, but certainly for all the people who have him, who are just going to leave him because of how well he's been doing, it's absolutely a decent pick if you've got Firmino and you don't want him anymore, or if you've got him and you don't know what to do with him. I would keep him because everyone has him, and that's what you're trying to do. You're trying to keep as much percentage of ownership as you can in your team. Yes, you'll probably see a lot of people transferring him out, but like Chelsea is a great fixture for him, and I could see him getting the only goal that Leicester get in against Man City. So, yeah, I think he did really well. Eriksen and Son are way more shields than they are good picks, and by that I mean like they've been playing shit. They could score against West Ham, but everyone owns them, so they're decent picks. Son more than Eriksen for a shield. Salah, Mane, of course. Sterling, Aguero, of course. Laporte's even a shield now. If we look at defenders, Laporte, Robbo, Trent, Van Dijk, Alisson, Ederson, Laporte, Vertonghen even, I would say. What's his ownership? It's probably not that high, actually. 4.5. Yeah, no, he's not. Probably no Tottenham players. But yeah, so those players, if you don't have a lot of those players, I would probably recommend starting to bring them in now, because your job is to kind of keep the level that you're at. And right now, I'm in the top 10k. That was my goal. That's where I am. I'm actually top 2k, so I could potentially, or just outside. So I could potentially be like, right, I've got 8k to play with, so I could bring in differentials and try and break top 1k. But as this is my first season, I think I'm just going to go try and stay in top 2k, and that kind of solidifies all my hard work, right? That's what I'm going to do. And there's no point in me jumping in on Lukaku now. So I'm going to bring in Salah, because I don't have him, and he really hurt me last week. If I was confident that Liverpool would keep another 2 clean sheets, I could potentially take Vertonghen out and Firmino and go for Van Dijk and someone else, right? I could do that still. And there was a tiny rumor that Salah was a little bit injured this morning, and I thought at first it was full of shit, like I did with Firmino, and then I remember that Firmino turned out to be true, and that's kind of scary. So, but the good thing about it is that we've got the Champions League. The Champions League for Liverpool is tomorrow, so we can see if he is actually injured. So I'm not too worried about that. But, excuse me, I am not going to be making any transfers until like an hour before the deadline, probably, because the options for me are to take out Son and get Salah in and get, a bench, an absolute waster like this man. Absolutely. And then that means that I'm sitting pretty with 0.7 million in, because I can't really afford anyone good anyway. 5 million striker. I could have got Long, but I've got 3 Southampton, and it means that next game week, if I want to, I've got 0.7 million to play for the last game week to try and upgrade someone. So I could do that. So that is the kind of shield move that I'm talking about when you're looking to solidify whatever overall rank you have. Salah, Mane, if you don't have them, are probably musts. Sterling and Aguero, if you don't have them as well. And then kind of everyone else is secondary. So yeah, we have 18 minutes before the game. I'm going to start talking about your mini league strategies. So if you are second place in your mini league, or you're fourth and you need to get into third, if you're looking to bump up to the next level and you have 2 game weeks to go, I would say that if you are anywhere over 50 points behind, it is very unlikely for you to succeed, unfortunately, which means you get to have loads of fun. If you have nothing to play for money-wise, and you're just wanting to get there for, I need first place because he hasn't shut up about being first all year, and I just really want to just smash his face in, but I can't, so I'm going to try and beat him at FPL. Your option is full force differential assault. You've nothing to play for, you might as well just change your team and get as many differentials that you can in that could potentially score points. This doesn't mean take loads of hits. If you take loads of hits, you're kind of pushing yourself further back. So I would say a -8 max. But if he has Aguero, you don't want Aguero. If he has Sterling, you don't want Sterling. You don't want to bring in players that he has or she has. You want to bring in the players that they don't have. You want Lukaku. You want any other differential. For Sigurdsson, you want all these players that no one has, that you definitely won't bring in next week, that if they haul, will push you further and further. There is an obvious risk to this strategy, in that if your differentials fail, you'll drop even further behind, but that is a risk that you could be willing to take depending on how annoying the first place is. So yeah, that's option 1 for getting ahead of your first place mini league rival. Second option is the trust and hope. So if you have roughly the same team as your rival, but a few differences, and you're not that far away from them, so you're maybe 10-20 points away, just trust in your team. You have the same as him except for a few differentials, so maybe just hope that your differentials do better. or the differentials are the place that you're kind of trying to improve to get any of the differentials that I said. But you want to try and see and where he's going to go, count how many points you think your differentials are going to be, or the people who are different than the other person's team, and then try and figure out where you're losing points from and go from there, okay? There's no point in you trying to match what players they have, because then you're just going to get the same points and you're just going to both move at the same rate, right? Instead of actually gaining speed on him or gaining points on them. So second option is definitely kind of the trust and hope, and just maintain your differentials or improve them slightly. Take no hits if possible. Only put out fires if you need to. Everyone else can go on the bench. Probably won't need them this late in the season unless you've got like Firmino, and that's something you need to deal with. But Firmino's like, if he plays and he's definitely nailed, he would be a great option, because no one has Firmino, right? They all want to go Salah, Mane, and Robertson or whoever, right? So you need to kind of pick players that they don't have. That is your go-to. So if you are first place in your mini league and you're trying to stay there, your options are almost exact opposite of that. So option A is sacrifice to succeed. And what I mean by that is you're going to have to give up those players, those differential players that have been playing really, really well for you, in order to match every single player that your rival has. If you don't care about your overall rank and all you want to do is just beat your rival, then if they have 3 premiums that are different than you, say they have Aguero, they have Vardy, and they have Salah, and you have Sterling, Mane, and Lacazette, right? They could screw your first place because of those 3 players. So you want to try and match what players they are, anticipate what players they will improve upon, and, you know, stay in first place. So that's what I would definitely do, is work on kind of matching their big players that could potentially hurt you. Because what they're going to do is they're going to try and change their differentials. And that's a lot harder to predict. So matching their big players is option 1 for you. Second option for you, and this is one that's probably most obvious, is just keep doing what you're doing. You're first place for a reason. Your differential have been playing well. Your premiums have been playing well. Just kind of pretend that they don't even exist and hope that they take the most ludicrous chances and differentials in that don't pay off. Like they bring in Anderson, even though I've been talking about, they bring him in, he doesn't do well, and the person they brought out does well, and you know you're higher up. It's their opportunity to do something different, and it's your opportunity to stay the course and keep going. So that's definitely what I would do. I would, if I was first place, is kind of stay the course. But if you're miles ahead and you don't care about your rank, it might also be fun to just take a bunch of hits and change your team up to exactly equal them and just throw salt in that wound. So yeah, that's the mini league. That's the mini league strategies done. I can't think of anything more than that other than finding their phone and just transferring in, 3 Huddersfield, 3 Fulham players, 3 Cardiff players, 3 Arsenal players. Just do that and just watch the chaos. But that's technically illegal, so maybe don't do that. But yeah, that is pretty much everything that I wanted to cover for game week 37, and we have 11 minutes until the game. 11 minutes. I'm going to take 60 seconds for you guys to send in all your stuff or ask some questions, etc., etc. I want to see some teams. I want to see some rival teams. You can absolutely send in your rival team. Liam, thanks very much. So yeah, alternative options: make another account with your opponent email and hope they get banned. Yeah, just find a bot, pay someone £5 and ban your mini league rival. If you could only have 2 of the 3, which ones would you have? Sterling, Aguero, Salah? That is a good question. If you could only have 2 of the 3. Newcastle, Wolves away then home versus Leicester home, Brighton away. I would probably do... I'd probably do Sterling Aguero because of the fixtures and the fact that they need to keep up winning, and also Salah is playing way more games. So just straight up logical thinking here. Salah has the Champions League and Aguero and Sterling don't. So I would probably do that. Yeah, so let's do some... If you've got more questions, just shout them out. Other than that, you can send me your team and we'll do some quick RMTs. I'm pretty sure someone sent me a team yesterday. Vishal sent me a team yesterday for the stream, so we'll do that one first. And then we'll do Liam that sent me in a team. So we can do that one. And we'll also do Zed. So let's just do this one because it's on the screen right now. Not mine. So Zed says, this is my team. Lloris, Laporte, Trent Alexander-Arnold, Robbo, Mane, Sterling, Son, Deulofeu, Højbjerg, Jimenez, Aguero. And bench is Foster, Valerie, Bednarik, Success. Decent team. I like it. It's a decent team. My mini league rival, up 55 points, has Ali. That's a weird way to start the team. What's his keeper? Has he got his keeper? Have you missed his keeper? Am I being thick? Oh, Allison. Sorry, I'm being thick. It was me being thick. Allison, Doherty, Van Dijk, Robbo, triple Liverpool defence. Holy shit. Digne, Son, Fraser, Hazard, Auba, Wilson, Zaha. Bench is Willian, Hodge, and Connolly. Any advice how to navigate the last 2 game weeks? Holy shit. He is the differential king. So he doesn't have Salah or Mane. He has Allison, and you have Trent, and he has Robbo and Van Dijk. You have Robbo as well. You've got Mane. So you have TAA, he has Van Dijk. You both have Robbo, and you have Mane, and he has Lloris. So if Liverpool just concede once, then you are golden. He's got Fraser, Hazard, Auba, Wilson. You can't compete with his team. Let's just start right there. His team is not better than yours. It's just so different that there's no way for you to do anything else. Lloris fine. Laporte's fine. Trent Alexander's fine. Robbo Man is fine. Sterling's fine. Son is okay for this game week. Deulofeu's okay. What are Watford's fixtures like? Let's just quickly have a look. Oh, that's blowing my mind how crazy your friend is. Right, last 2 fixtures of the game week. What are Watford? I'm pretty sure Watford aren't that great. Watford, Chelsea, then West Ham. And you have on your bench Foster, Valerie, Bednarik. You could change... Actually, no, what, Deulofeu, keep him in there. Jimenez, Aguero. In all honesty, I would probably just keep your team, right? I would just do the exact same thing that you're doing. Because you have such different teams, your differentials are already there. You don't have to bring anyone in. If you have 1 free transfer, and he has 2 free transfers, he's probably going to bring in, an Aguero or something, right? And that's fine. You both have Aguero. Everyone's got Aguero. With your free transfer, you could potentially do Son to Pogba and just hope for the best. Or go crazy and assume that he's taking out Aubameyang or something for Aguero and change your Aguero guy, but I don't think I would do that. I think you are the one with all the safe players and he's the one with all the crazy teams, and your mini league's kind of inverted, the fact that he's higher up. But I would say that if none of his players pop off and Liverpool only have 1 clean sheet out of the last 2, I'd say that your team's doing better. Unless Mane doesn't score. But you've got Sterling, you've got a much better captaincy option this week. in Sterling or Aguero, yeah, man, just keep doing what you're doing. I think you're on the right course. If you lose this, it's not your fault, pretty much. In the last 2 game weeks, you should be able to bring up. The only person that's maybe is Son, but I would probably leave this game week. And then you have 2 free transfers, and then next week we can definitely see exactly what we should be doing different. Because I don't think his team's going to perform well. I mean, Digne, yeah, probably. Robbo, Van Dijk, Alisson, it depends on if Liverpool score. Doherty should be doing okay, so he's got a good backline. But then Son, Fraser, Hazard, oh man, he's got every differential. Oh. Yeah, I don't know. My advice would be to stick with your team because there's no way you can match his. Maybe bring in the players that would hurt you the most, but you have players that would hurt him the most. Sterling's better than Hazard, for example. So I don't know. I think keep the same. But yeah, let's move on. Thank you very much for sending your rivals team as well. That was interesting. Whose team is this? This is Vishal's team. Laurie's great. I think keeping him's fine. Robertson and Alexander-Arnold's fine with Mane. That's absolutely good. Sterling, correct choice for captaincy in my opinion. You've got Redmond. You've got Valerie. Kolasinac is an issue. I would absolutely change Kolasinac for Shaw. It's a straight up swap. Arsenal have been doing pish. The only player that is 5 million or less that I would bring in as a defender right now is Shaw. So right away, that's the first thing I would do. Secondly, you have Eriksen who could potentially be rested. I would obviously wait until the game finishes tonight to see because Son could get injured or something, right? We just don't know. But I think I would probably swap Eriksen for someone. You could potentially get Aguero. Eriksen, Lacazette out, Aguero and a lower team midfielder. So yeah, Shaw and leave 2 free transfers for the last game week, or maybe Eriksen and Lacazette out and bring someone in. Although I do really like Lacazette and I do really like Eriksen. I think Arsenal are just in a funk right now, and Eriksen is rotation risk. So wait till Friday, but I would think about Shaw. I would think about getting in Aguero. I don't know how much you would have. I think if Lacazette's 9.4 and Aguero's 11.9 or something, let's say 12 million to be safe, 2.6 off of 9.2, so you've got about 6 million to play with for your midfielder. 6 million is enough. If you've even got 6.4, you could squeeze Richarlison in there. And that's what I would do. Right, T. Robinson, how's it going? Thanks for showing up. If you want a quick RMT, I'll go 2 minutes after the game starts and hopefully not miss anything. But thank you for sending your team in, Michelle. Okay, Liam. You've sent your team in. You've got Guaita, which is absolutely fine. Wan-Bissaka, absolutely fine. You've got Lindelof there still. I would potentially take out Wan-Bissaka and put Lindelof in, just so you're not totally betting on Cardiff not scoring, because they're still potentially not leaving the Premier League, right? Cardiff could just absolutely demolish Crystal Palace. I don't see it happening, but they could just fight tooth and nail to kind of stay up. So I would potentially just leave it. My stomach made a weird noise there. I would potentially take out Wan-Bissaka for Lindelof. You would expect Lindelof to get a clean sheet. Deulofeu on the bench is fine, although it might haunt you, but Jimenez and Jota versus Fulham should do the damage. You've got Mane captained against Newcastle away instead of Sterling. I would definitely go Sterling instead. Simple fact being that Leicester home is a much better fixture than Newcastle away for anyone. Like, Rafa's just a great defence king, and I could see him causing Mane all sorts of trouble. I could see Sterling being very frustrated with his previous performance. I could see Leicester pushing up instead of holding back. All these things point to Sterling. The problem is Firmino. What to do with Firmino? How many transfers do you have? If you have one transfer, then that would be awesome. If you only have two, you haven't sent that in. If you have two transfers, then Firmino out, Son out, you could get Aguero and someone good. That is an easy transfer to make. It's the exact same one that I'm making. You could get, or not exactly I've got Aguero, but you could also, I'm taking Firmino out and Son. You could also get Salah and a bench fodder, because you've got decent players on the bench. You have Deulofeu, you've got Lindelof, you've got Valor. Your bench is actually stacked. It's really good. So for those reasons, I think if you have two free transfers, I would probably look at that. If not, if you don't, and you only have Firmino, then potentially just downgrading him and then upgrading Son at some point, maybe for the last game week for Salah. So maybe figure out how much money you would need for that and do that. But I wouldn't be taking hits. Your team's too good to take hits. I would just kind of stay the course. Your team has really good bench players. So even if you keep Firmino and he doesn't play, Deulofeu comes on as first on the bench against Chelsea, who haven't been playing that great. 2 conceded goals against Burnley, for example. But yeah, your team's doing really well. And considering you didn't have any chips for that big chip period, your team's looking banging. I think just trade your captaincy and kind of work on your starting lineup here, and then maybe look at what you can afford if you take Firmino and Son out, as opposed to keeping them in for the last 2 games, because they're a bit risky now. Son less so, but Firmino definitely might get rested if he plays tomorrow. But we'll know much more tomorrow. Definitely more tomorrow. You've got 2 free transfers. That's great. Firmino, Son to Salah and someone, or Aguero and someone. I think I would probably go Aguero, considering we can't get Salah without getting bench fodder. Technically, you don't need another good player because your bench is so good, so it might work out in your favour. You could take Firmino out for Lindelof and go Firmino and Son to Quainer and Salah, and there you go, and you'd have the basic players. Although I think Aguero's going to outscore Salah next game week, and you don't have him, so you could set yourself up with some money by bench fodder midfielder like Højbjerg from Southampton and getting Aguero instead. I think that's us. I think that's the last. Has anyone got any other questions or anything before we go? This is the first time I've ever done a stream for almost exactly 1 hour. It always goes way over, guys. But I don't think anyone else has sent the teams in. I've kind of talked about everything we want to talk about. Let me just check all my stuff. Yeah, I think we're good. I think we're great. Last questions. Nope, we're all good. Awesome. Well, thank you very much, guys, for joining me on a Tuesday instead of a Monday. I know it's a bit annoying, but next season I'm hoping to kind of change it a little bit, and we'll just have Mondays all the time, but we'll go at 10 o'clock, for example, so we can skip all the games and stuff like that. We're here next week, Tuesday as well, same time, and then the game week after that, obviously, is the final one. So we'll be doing a Monday stream, and I'm just going to go over my entire season and kind of my musings on what went right, what went wrong, and how many hits I took, and if that was a good thing or a bad thing. My overall rank and what I'm going to be doing for next season. So last but not least, some questions came in there. Who do I think will win tonight? I think Ajax might win. They're like David here, and I read somewhere that David versus Goliath, I mean, not me. I read that if they get to the final, their full budget for the year is paid for. Like their winnings from the Champions League is going to be more than their final. Like, that just makes me feel good. It just makes me feel all warm and fuzzy inside. So I'm going to go get another drink, and I'm going to get the game on. And I'll see you guys all next week. Thank you very much for joining us. And yeah, I'll see you guys I'll see you guys next time. Catch you later. Bye, 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 bye.
Yeah, I'm alone tonight. Do you still sleep with that old brown bear that I won for you at our first date fair? I'm alone tonight. Yeah, I'm alone tonight. I know some days we all cry. We break down, yeah, we lose our minds. Let it go sometimes. Got to let it go sometimes. I know some days we all cry. We break down, yeah, we lose our minds. Let it go sometimes. Got to let it go sometimes.